The open versus closed weapon system conversation has been a big topic in the Battlefield 6 community since the beta, or really even since the announcement of the game, and everyone found out that they were wanting to go with an open weapon system like Battlefield 2042. And during the recent Battlefield comms where the devs discussed everything we can expect on launch day here this Friday, October the 10th, they talked about why they decided to go with an open weapon system instead of the classic closed weapon system that most Battlefield titles in the past have had. They said during the open beta, the vast majority of players, after trying both playlist types, chose to stick with open weapons. They said that reinforced their belief that the open weapon system was the right path forward for Battlefield 6. But they did say, for anyone that wants closed weapons at launch, there will be an official closed weapon playlist available to choose from. Additionally, they will also have portal experience options for players that want closed weapons as well. So you will have the option in Portal and the option in just the base game, the base multiplayer, to have closed weapon playlist if you would like to have that. And I do understand that a lot of people really like closed weapons, and I'm sure this was something that a lot of people were disappointed to hear when they went with the open weapon system. They did give us some examples of why they decided to do this, or some kind of comparisons. They said between open and closed weapon playlists, they observed mostly identical class pick rates of 1 to 2% differences at most, which was kind of interesting to me because I would have thought that the class pick rate might have been a bit different towards the closed weapon playlist instead of the open weapon playlist. So that one was kind of interesting. They also said that match duration increased slightly with closed weapons by around 45 seconds. They also said the revive rate was slightly higher for closed weapons at 3% for breakthrough and 2% for conquest, which coincides with the slightly longer match duration. So they're saying the reason there was more revives in the closed weapon system was because the match was lasting around 45 seconds longer. Overall, it seems like they kind of dug into all the stats from the beta and decided the community really leaned more towards the open weapon system. Now, for me personally, I've talked about this a lot. I don't know why they didn't decide to just go with one or the other from the get-go. When they said to begin with it was going to be an open weapon system like Battlefield 2042, and after all this testing, I don't know why they just didn't decide it and say this is what it's going to be. We're not going to have both. Because a lot of people feel like that the player base will be split, and they even thought that during the beta, that the player base would be split up because some players are going to want to play with open weapons, some players are going to want to play with closed weapons. I don't really know if it's going to be that big of a deal. We'll have to wait and see. But from the sound of this, when they're saying the vast majority of players chose to play with open weapons, I don't think it's really going to affect the open weapon player base that much. Now, it may affect the closed weapon player base, because if there's not a lot of people choosing to use closed weapons and play in those playlists, then that playlist may never fill up completely all the time, especially after the game's been out for a little while. For me, I don't really care either way. I've said that a lot over the past several months. I've played all the Battlefield titles, and I enjoyed them when they had closed weapons, and I don't mind them at all when they have open weapons. So either way, I would have been fine. If they would have come out and said we're going to go with a closed weapon system for Battlefield 6, I would have been perfectly fine with that. And now that we're going with an open weapon system, I'm perfectly fine with that as well. I do understand that there's some fans out there that really wanted closed weapons, and they feel like that it makes the squad play a little bit better when you have closed weapons. It also makes your decision on what character you're going to run per map or per situation a little bit different when you have closed weapons. And I do get why players like that over the open weapon system. But overall, I'm happy with it either way. Overall, I'm just really looking forward to this Friday when we get to play Battlefield 6 finally. It feels like it's been forever since the beta. But leave me a comment and let me know if you're okay with the open weapon system or if you're going to be playing the closed weapon playlist only. Also, really quickly before I end the video, there will be a day one update that you have to have downloaded before you can play the game. Right now, EA has said that it will be available around 10 a.m. Central Time here inside of the United States. So you can kind of base that off your time depending on where you live. But you will have to have that day one patch downloaded before you can play the game on the 10th, this Friday. They also are going to have those patch notes released here in the next few days. I'm going to make a video about all the changes coming to the game since the beta. So if you're looking forward to all the changes, kind of keep your eye out for that video here when I release it, whenever we do finally get those notes. Leave me a comment with your thoughts, and of course, if you liked the video, hit the like. If you have not subscribed yet, please do so, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.